Now for the mattress. I should have guessed.
Who among us doesn't love Spongebob Squarepants? Well, no matter how beloved the series is, a long-running show like this is bound to have its fair share of errors, and SpongeBob is definitely no exception. We've got all the errors you missed in SpongeBob SquarePants, so buckle in, grab your boating license, and let's go.
Yay! Remind me to fire my therapist.
Number 1. Ever wonder about Plankton's size? It seems like SpongeBob SquarePants animators did too. Plankton's size varies pretty greatly throughout the series. He goes from small to sometimes very large, and his size in comparison to the other characters creates plenty of confusion. Just look at him next to Pearl. When you really think about it, even at his smallest, he's still a lot bigger than an actual plankton. Number 2. We all know the galley grub sign. It's a landmark of the Krusty Krab, but you may not have noticed that it's missing the E a few times throughout the series. That's right, if you pay close attention to this sign as you watch the show, you'll see that the spelling tends to change. It's okay, the customers know what the sign says either way. They're all going to order a Krabby Patty anyway. Number 3. How big is SpongeBob's bed? It's really hard to tell. Throughout the series, his bed changes size fairly often. So how big is it really? We may never actually know. We just know that he always likes to spring up out of it bright and early every morning. Number 4. Bikini Bottom geography is pretty complicated. So complicated, in fact, that there's really no way to know where things are since they're always changing. Sure, we've come to know many landmarks of Bikini Bottom, from the Krusty Krab and the Chum Bucket to SpongeBob's Pineapple and Patrick's Rock. Where they all are in relation to each other, though, is never really consistent. Number 5. Patrick's lens cap may not have been where he claimed after all. We all remember how devastating it was for SpongeBob when he found out that Patrick left the lens cap on while he was filming his Mermaid Man movie. As it turns out, though, there probably is some footage of SpongeBob's feature film in the end. If you pay close attention, you'll see that Patrick does in fact film without the lens cap. We can't wait until SpongeBob hears about this, and we also can't wait to see that movie. Number 6. That's one quick outfit change, SpongeBob. In the episode titled Muscle Bob Buff Pants, there's a scene where SpongeBob changes very abruptly out of his swimsuit and into his normal attire before hitting a pole. There's simply no way he could have changed into his suit that quickly. Did the animators just forget that SpongeBob was wearing a swimsuit? It sure looks that way. Number 7. Did you ever notice anything funny about Mr.Krabs' legs? Well, in the episode Dying for Pie, there's definitely something up with those crab legs. What's up with them, you ask? They're gone. Yes, there's a second in this episode where Mr. Krabs' legs disappear and his body is left floating. Number 8. Where the heck is Squidward's neck? Yes, it seems that Mr. Krabs' legs aren't the only main character body part that's gone missing once in a while. Squidward's neck also disappears in one episode. In The Lost Mattress, Squidward gets bitten on the butt by a worm, but surprisingly this isn't actually his biggest problem in that moment. His biggest problem is actually that he seems to have no neck. Number 9. SpongeBob also has its fair share of spelling mistakes. In fact, you might be surprised to know that even the famous EVIL acronym, Every Villain is Lemons, has a typo. Seeing as this is probably one of SpongeBob's most famous scenes, we think most people didn't catch this. Once you do, though, it somehow makes the moment even funnier. Number 10. Is that ape really there, or... You probably remember this famous gorilla scene, and of course there are plenty of deliberate reasons that the appearance of this gorilla is memorable. But we also remember that he's weirdly see-through, and we think that probably has to be some sort of accident. Hey, it can't be easy getting a real gorilla into an animated ocean, so we don't blame him. Number 11. SpongeBob and the Case of the Disappearing Fish. That probably would have been a better name for this episode, because once you see this error, it's pretty hard to remember the episode any other way. As these Krusty Krab customers are running in terror from the golden eel, one of them completely disappears into thin air. Maybe they were so scared they simply vanished. Maybe the eel got him and we missed it. So many possibilities. Number 12. There's something fishy, no pun intended, about this shadow. We all know that shadows are supposed to, well, shadow you. But SpongeBob's TV seems to have a different relationship with its shadow. When SpongeBob breaks his TV, the shadow on the wall stays the same. Number 13. Turns out Sandy's even more of a big mouth than she seems. Sometimes it seems like Sandy never stops talking, but her mouth certainly does. Sandy's mouth stays still when she's supposed to be talking in this scene, and we still hear her voice.
But y'all are looking much more relaxed.
That was a pretty big oversight. Number 14. There are some color errors throughout SpongeBob that you may have missed. In one scene, Mr. Krabs' legs and SpongeBob's teeth aren't colored correctly, and it makes them blend in with their surroundings. In another scene, SpongeBob's hat is colored wrong. It's colored like his normal hat and not the one he's wearing in the scene. Number 15. Is that a magic t-shirt or a major continuity error? A restaurant patron at the Krusty Krab is shirtless until a t-shirt magically appears on his body. That's a pretty useful talent to have for a no shirt, no shoes, no service situation. We'll just assume that he saw a sign with that policy on it just seconds before the shirt appeared. Number 16. Good luck putting mail in the Krusty Krab mailbox. We're not actually sure if they have one. The Krusty Krab's mailbox only actually exists in one episode, and appears and disappears over the course of the episode. Guess you'd have to drop your mail for the Krusty Krab off with Squidward then, and we can only imagine how much he must love that. Number 17. What happened to those mirrors? The side mirrors on SpongeBob's boat appear from one scene to the next. It's unclear which way is the actual design of the boats in Bikini Bottom, but we do know that they'd make driving much easier. We know SpongeBob's not the best driver, but having rear-view mirrors that disappear and reappear while you're driving would make things tough on even the most skilled drivers on the road. Number 18. What's the deal with Sandy's tail? In one episode, Sandy is turned into a little realistic squirrel, but for some reason her normal tail still remains in the suit. In fact, the whole suit stands upright as if her body is still in it, but in reality her body is small enough to fit in the helmet. In this scene, she's actually got two tails. Seriously, Sandy, what secrets are you hiding in that bushy tail of yours? Number 19. The truth about SpongeBob's bones is definitely up for debate. In one episode, SpongeBob says that he has no bones and even proves it by wringing himself out like a sponge. But in plenty of other episodes, he clearly does have a whole skeleton like a human. Clearly, SpongeBob has both sponge and human qualities, so in some ways both options make sense. But what's the real story about that sponge's skeleton? Number 20. Mr. Krabs' mom's hair is definitely cause for concern. We may not see Mr. Krabs' mom often, but when you pay close attention, it seems that disappearing and reappearing body parts run in the Krabs family. Mr. Krabs' mom's hair disappears from one moment to the next. Did you catch all these mistakes in Bikini Bottom? What else did you notice that we didn't include? Tell us all about it in the comments, and be sure to like and subscribe to The Things Animated for all the latest on your animated favorites.